Only a Sith deals in absolutes. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Zareth Prevails. We've got Endall BL here again. This is day 2 of our series in talking about 5v5 and trying to get reacclimated to the madness. If you guys missed it last time, we did talk about offensive teams that are not Galactic Legend inspired or used or whatever, like they're set apart from Galactic Legends. We do have a video up on Endall's channel, however, about Galactic Legends specifically and how they interact with 5v5. So go check that out in the video description. Please, guys, go hit that sub button on Endall. And that being said, Endall, how are you today, man? This has been fun.
Yeah, it has been fun. Really love these collabs. I've been doing good, and just chatting with you, it's refreshing all of my memory about all of these 5v5 teams that I've completely forgotten about for the last 1 month. So this is good. This is bringing things back right now.
I think one of my favorite moments today was like we were talking about like some really crazy counter, and I was like, man, we're kind of advanced, and you were like, yeah, we are. It was just like there wasn't even ego. It was just like, yeah, we actually know what we're talking about. This is cool. Yeah, it's just fun, man. Talking shop with another a GAC, I don't know, specialist, I guess. It's good.
Yeah, yeah, tons
So,
of fun. Yeah, there's so many new things that you discover just by chatting.
yeah, so many, and that's always how it's been. Like the exchange of knowledge. It's an amazing thing, and it's cool that technology lets us do things like this. So,
Absolutely.
as a disclaimer, guys, a ton of these teams that we're going to be showing you are actually teams that I love on offense, and so we're going to show you defensive teams, and then when you go to see us play GAC, you're probably going to end up seeing us, both of us, using teams that we don't typically, like, we're like, hey, use Beskar on defense, and then you'll see us kill something with it on offense, and you might have a WTF moment. Don't worry about it too much. These teams are just so flexible. We have to pick one or the other, and so we're going to talk about their good defensive traits this time, and then maybe next time we'll swap over to offense. Yeah, for instance, like this Commander Luke team, you and I, like, you love it on defense, and it
Yeah.
makes me, I love it on defense, but I love it more on offense. Why do you, no, let's, let's talk about Beskar here. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm all over the place. But we don't want to forget about Beskar. So,
Yeah.
preview, guys, we're going to talk about Commander Luke. What do you like about this Beskar team on defense?
Yeah, I mean in 3v3, I love Bam IG Quill on offense just because they get taken out so easily. But in 5v5, there's an extra damage dealer and an extra tank or reviver like Vandor that you can put in over here, which makes a team slightly more tricky in a 5v5 situation. So I really love using Enfys Nest in there for that extra offense, and a tank like L3 or Stormtrooper Han or any other scoundrel tank which who can counter, for example, and give extra birds. So this actually is a really good defensive comp that you can use because it's done really well for me in the past. There's a lot of times people, they see it and they tend to overkill it, and a lot of things which work in 3v3 will not work in 5v5.
Absolutely true. Yeah, this team is a lot of fun on defense, just because of the holds it gets. A lot of times people are going to be stashing it with like Rey or whatever, but a lot of times people will put whatever they have left over on this team, and it can be really frustrating. I will admonish people though. You need a really high amount of offense on Beskar Mando. If you can get him up to Relic 7 or 8, I mean, if you have Executor, Relic 8 is the way to go. He's my next, I was telling you, Endall, he's going to be my next free to choose Relic 8, because, I mean, right now I'm doing all the stupid Vader requirements, the Crispy Lake Vader, but, like, his ship is just so good anyways. You want it to be fast.
Yeah.
And you... His whistling birds, the whole team, like Nest can do some damage. The whistling birds from Bando though are the real threat if you can set up the right situation.
Yeah, One thing to note about this team is if you're keeping her on defense, make sure that the turn order is right. You want Quill fast, 320, 330, however fast you want him to be. And then the next fastest needs to be your BAM. And then you could have IG-11 or Nest or whichever other scoundrel you want to go, because you want BAM to get into his stance for Whistling Birds and then all the others to do their AoEs and build up his stacks of Whistling Birds. So that turn order is something that you need to pay attention to.
Yes, and I have not done that, but I will eventually.
Oh,
It's
the other scoundrel which is really good over here is Veteran Han. That
oh
guy has got
yes,
an
yes.
AoE ability block, and if you get him to the right speed, maybe one speed below Mandalorian Beskar armor, Quill speeds him up. Bam gets into his Whistling Bird stance, and this guy Veteran Han goes in and AoE's ability blocks everyone, and maybe lands a stun or two. So that's another great character to have over here if you want your nest somewhere else.
That is a fantastic point. Why don't we just throw him in here real quick for if people
Yeah.
want to get the screenshot or whatever? I think maybe he might. I like the extra tank. You were telling me like you like the extra tank, and I agree. I like the additional like an AOE. That's an additional at least what
Additional five birds. Yeah,
five
that's
birds,
right.
and that's huge.
Yeah.
Um,
So within your whole character's taking turns, you get like 15 birds right away with Nest, IG, and Veteran Smuggler Han.
yeah, it's really really cool. Yeah, this team it's also good with Bo-Katan. This team is really flexible on what you want to do with it. So let's talk about Commander Luke though, because
Yeah.
I feel like we could make like a 30-minute video just on that Beskar team, but people need a wide range of teams that they could choose from. So I love Commander Luke on offense. On defense, I just don't like it because people can kind of like choose which team to counter with, but there's like Han is always going to shoot first. So I mean, what do you like about it on defense, Endall? What makes you want to put it on defense?
I mean, at the range that I operate, a lot of people are uncomfortable using counters against Commander Luke Skywalker. Whatever they use is going to end up, costing them banners. Barring a GL, there's, just because the amount of burst damage that this team does, and the amount of turn meter that they generate. So, barring a GL, there's a very few reliable high banner counters to this particular team. A lot of people like to use General Grievous, but most people also like to keep General Grievous on defense. Then what do you take against this particular squad? So it makes people make tough decisions, which is why I love this squad.
Yeah, forcing tough decisions in GAC. I mean, that's a huge factor to be able to win overall. I think it's not just being able to execute the counters; it's actually being able to make decisions in that margin. And
Yeah.
Commander Luke is one of those teams. It's like, oh, okay, so I threw a team in there, and then I couldn't even exit in time before they just destroyed me. So I don't even have that team and their turn meter loaded. So dang it.
Yeah, and if you put something like this in the front squad, you'll have people debating whether do I want to overkill it and throw a GL, or do I want to risk a weaker team and then risk losing a battle and 20 banners. So those are the kind of things that you want to. Those are the kind of situations you want to keep your opponent in.
Yeah, I know. My buddy Chill, actually, he has a really good Commander Luke team he puts on defense sometimes, and he periodically sends me screenshots of his history of Supreme Leader Kylo teams going in and losing to it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, this team is a monster on defense. On offense, it's also a monster. Really wish, I mean, it's fine. We should be able to make tough decisions, but, like, it's such a joy to have it on offense. Maybe it's just a crutch for me, but I do like it on offense. All right, General Skywalker. He's the nerfed boy. He's the guy who is not as good as he used to be, say a lot of people, but the team stands up not quite twice as fast, but pretty quick. We have him slated for defense, even though he kills Rey on offense sometimes. But what are your thoughts here, Endall?
Yeah, I think he's one of those characters where, with his home of 501st, he's become better with the changes which came through. He's recovering protection twice as fast, and he's standing up twice as fast. So there's less time that you have to kill the clones. In for this team to succeed, I think you need to bump up your speed on Rex. Mine Rex used to be 280, 290. I think I'm going to bump him up a little more just to have him go ahead of a lot of these teams which now are trying to counter General Skywalker. Yeah, 300 is a good speed to have on this guy. because 300 effectively means he's going to be 360, right? Your 20% speed bump. So 360 is yep, it's going to outspeed most Quills and Gideons and all of those other things which are trying to counter him. And if you mod your General Skywalker for protection and defense and all those defensive stats, then it can make even the mirror a little more dicey, and that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to bleed banners from your opponents.
Yeah, absolutely. And this team, if you want to do the mirror match, great. It's like a 53 at best. You're like, you get a 53 and you get excited because you didn't just lose way more. Because you could easily end with like a 48 or even a 47, 46, even if it comes one-on-one. Like it's not a pretty mirror. But on the other hand, there's not a lot that counters it. Commander Luke counters it, but otherwise...
Yeah. Do you think even after the buffs to gas, standing up twice as fast, Commander Luke still will have no problem with it?
So all the videos I've seen, it's gone the exact same way. So
okay.
I haven't tried it myself, but I think Luke is still a viable one. I don't know if it's equally viable or not. I would consider it right now to be about the same, from what I understand, though. Because here's the thing, you knock him down a little bit slower because he's got all that extra protection, but his offense is greatly diminished, so you're not taking as huge of punches as you do normally. So
yeah, that is true.
It's to be determined. Like, this season will determine quite a bit of the functionality of things. Okay, so we've got Grievous. It's a little bit strange team. Instead of Newt, who's kind of the standard guy here, and I think Newt is actually great here too. Along with, like, Droideka can even be good in certain circumstances, etc. IG-88, though, guys, I like it just because of the utility of, if you have IG-88, if you have Executor, you have Relic 5 IG-88. And it's cool. Like, I don't know. Target lock synergy.
Yeah, he's got tons of droid synergy with these guys, and his if you've got his unique Zeta, he target locked enemies can't recover health or protection. It's essentially a healing immunity, which is always useful to have. And he's another character who applies target lock, and target lock synergy is big with Grievous. So definitely, a good character to have. And since he's not a separatist, he'll be out in the open. People will have to step gingerly around him because you don't want to kill him and then give Grievous a turn. You want to target B2 first. That's something else to keep in mind.
Yeah, I think that's a good point too. Like, you have to just kind of figure out what you want to do. Like, Nightsisters teams kind of just get real scared if they can't kill IG right away. That they can't heal. Like, they're just, they'll get revived and all that. That'll happen. But I'm not saying that this will shut down every Nightsisters team, but I think this puts the fear of God into them a little bit, at least.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, other fifth characters like Watt has always had great utility with this team. There's a ton of different things you can do with Grievous.
Yeah, Watt is actually a great fifth to add in here. I mean, with his diminished utility with Vader these days, he's his unique ability does give separatist droid allies about 30 or 40% of his own health as protection, which is a huge survivability bump to all of these Grievous droids. That, along with the perma taunt on Magna Guard, the extra bonus protection on Grievous maybe, and the extra turn meter generation for B1, it could make it a problematic team. I could see JKR failing over there if you have Watt. That could be a possibility.
Yeah, Watt, because armor is kind of redundant with Watt, at least in terms of his utility with Galactic Legends. You could maybe slot Watt in there. I'd like to see. I want to see some more of those teams in here. We'll see. I like IG-88 just because he's like, hey, look at this. I have a relic character. I never wanted a relic. I guess I'll throw a Zeta on him and see how it goes.
Yeah.
All right. So next up, we have the. If you don't have Supreme Leader Kylo, you can totally do this with First Order team. And if you want to just run, like, Kylo has a few different builds that he can go with, but I I have to say, I'm a little bit of I don't know. I'm one of those guys who says like, oh yeah, I like this. I'm a hipster. I like things. I did this before it was cool. This team is a team I used from day one in GAC. Obviously, I didn't have Sith Trooper or Hux, but I've always loved Crew in GAC, and I'm sad that he's on defense a lot, but it adds a lot of utility too.
It does, yeah. And the presence of Hux in there means that enemies won't be gaining turn meter, and that's such an underrated ability because so many teams these days rely on turn meter generation. And with two tanks in there, it makes targeting Sith Trooper or General Hux a little more tricky, which is great. Another version of this team that I like to run is exactly the same 5 characters, but with Hux in the lead instead of Kylo Ren. You lose a little bit of speed and a little bit of protection and health recovery, but you get that dominance ability and the extra damage from Hux's lead, which can also catch a few people off guard.
Yeah, I think that build specifically, like if you can get some pretty quick mods on there, you just run times off the board. Like people are shocked at how much extra damage you're doing because
oh yeah, it's scary.
yeah, it's ridiculous. I've gone into fights with them before, and I'm just like, where did my team go? That was ridiculous. Like, or a character will be full health, full protection, and Hux will call his mass assist, and they'll just disappear. It's frightening.
Yeah.
So
And the other frightening thing is, because these guys get like 100% counter chance, and first order Stormtrooper, every time he counters, somebody else is going to assist as well. So there's tons of mass assist ability happening with that. You probably need a Padme team or something anti assist to be able to take care of something like that.
yeah, something very resilient. Yeah, this team is a problem. It really is. The only issue, of course, is that your Supreme Leader Kylo has less utility in other parts of the game. But do love this team. Now, Nightsisters, another great team on offense. They also work on defense. There's a lot of holes in what they do, but they still got it. They still got some things where it counts. Do you like Talzin lead better or Saj?
I do like Talzin lead better just because if you're keeping them in defense, the goal is to strip banners even if the team gets one shot, and Talzin lead just eats through health at least and gives that additional ability. Plus, Nightsister Spirit is great under Talzin lead as well. I think a fast Nightsister Spirit built with offense can get a lot of damage done over here in this team. Nightsisters have been not as popular in the recent past, just because there's so many teams with anti-revive abilities. But I think if you're running low on teams and if you've kept a uniformly tough defense, these guys can surprise you with a hold.
I think so. At the very least, like they're so unpredictable, and like they'll sometimes just like steal some banners. Like they'll randomly revive Talzin, who will do her AOE, and then everyone will die, and you're like, what just happened? Like I don't have health or protection. Like that sucked. Oh, and I will say this: I don't think there is a team nearly as tilting to play against as Nightsisters can be. Because you'll have them down to Zombie and just one. It doesn't even matter. Like Zombie and Daka, Zombie and even just Asajj. And all they have to do, like Asajj runs up, kills someone with old Daka to assist. Old Daka's suddenly alive. She revives everyone else. And they kill your whole team, and you're like, what just happened? I was one fight away from I was gonna get 60, and now I lost. Like,
oh yeah,
it's amazing, but. Yeah, it's very tilting if you don't have the right team.
Yep.
My Bad Batch, actually, last season, I took Bad Batch against these guys, last 5v5, and it was going really well until it wasn't, and then I was like, oh, I'm gonna lose. And then Bad Batch pulled a Nightsisters, and actually ended up getting a 60. I think I got a 61 against them. And everyone watching was like, what just happened? Because Bad Batch do the same thing. They're just like, recover everything.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah. So Geos, another team, if Solo's watching this, and this is his test, are you watching this, Solo? Let us know. But you don't have to watch it. We love Solo, but we put out too much to have to watch each other. That being said, Geos on defense are pretty cool. They're pretty good on offense. They're good. They're just a good utility team. You wanted to add Newt because we didn't have Newt on the Grievous team. And
Yeah.
I liked your ideas behind it.
Yeah, Newt, he's got this unique where if you give him the Zeta, if any of the Separatist allies inflict a debuff, they lose. I believe it's 5% health, and this team is all about debuffs. All these Geos can apply tons and tons of debuffs, and they go quite frequently as well. So you're doing tons of damage, max health damage to the enemies, which can't be evaded at all. Plus, extortion won't spread as much if Newt is not in the lead, but it'll still affect a couple of characters, and it's going to give extra speed to the geos, which will cause them to go even more frequently than they go. So that's great. And there's extra death. If Newt gets targeted and dies, he gets a chance to come back again and do all of his funky stuff all over again. So Newt is great as a support for Geonosians. And if you think about the teams which typically counter Geonosians, that's Treya, there's Vader, all of these guys. You throw Newt in there, and you actually can throw a wrench in their plans because all of a sudden their offense and speed gets reduced. Your Geos go faster. They're doing a percentage health damage with every debuff they inflict, and you could maybe surprise someone if Newt is in there.
Yeah, I think he's an interesting addition. I think you're also not wrong to just put Soldier in there either. Frankly,
Yeah,
like I think I do like the idea of throwing a random extra character with Geos just because you can screen them so well because you've got the double taunt if you need to. Like Sunfat can
yeah,
taunt, but yeah, you got to use Newt somewhere, guys. We have Relic 7 Newt if you're getting Lord Vader, so find a
yep.
use for him. If you're not going to put him with Grievous, where are you putting him? Now, here's one that's just like, I don't know. I would say that this is the closest we have to a fluff squad, Endall. If
Yeah,
I'm just being honest. So,
yeah,
like we have all the bounty hunters that we have to level up for Executor and for Lord Vader, except for Greedo. Like why not Greedo? But these other ones, like, what you gonna do with the Relic 7 Zam? Like, I guess you
yeah.
can put her as the lead and have them steal some banners.
Yeah, and this is definitely a B bounty hunter squad. But after your best ones are used up elsewhere, Zam lead is actually pretty decent in terms of creating havoc because there's every time that bounty hunters use a special ability, they inflict thermal detonators, and they gain health and protection as well. Plus, all these characters that you see over here, most of them actually have got an ability to apply thermals. Sam, Greedo, Dengar, and Cad and Embo with Zam's leadership, they'll apply thermals as well. So you'll get the contract pretty fast, like 20 thermal detonators. It's not a big deal with these characters who apply AOE thermals. And every time a thermal bursts, Zam gets a turn meter, and she gets like 20% turn meter for every bounty hunter ally who's there. So every time that Zam does a basic and bursts a thermal, she gets almost 100% turn meter, and she can go again and do the same thing all over again. So this team can get a little disruptive, and at the least, it'll strip banners, if not get you a hold.
Yeah, I think this is a good chance to just, you're like, you know what, if I need to place a team and I can't think of a single thing, I need everything else on offense, this team will do it. Or, honestly, this team will also, in specific situations, like, I put this up against, like, a really bad, like an Akbar lead Rebels team, like or a Poe lead Resistance. I think you could go toe-to-toe with them and, like,
Yeah.
stand a chance as long as you were the one controlling it versus their AI, like...
Yep. Yep.
Not to mention, it's fun. Like, all those thermal detonators, super fun. Just don't ever let OG Kylo have a whiff of this team. I think he just solos it.
Oh yeah, just like Jawas, Zam, all of those teams can be soloed by OG Kylo.
Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, all those thermals, man. They like, yeah, he loves them. So, all right, here's the team that's like, what do we do with Padme? Because if you have General Kenobi, you know that Kenobi steals all of the good things in Padme, including sometimes Padme. But if you don't have General Kenobi,
Jedi Master Kenobi, right?
Yeah, yes,
Yes.
yes, the Kenobi that looks like the other Kenobi. But you're right, you're absolutely right, and my mistake on that. Yeah, she's a great team. She has a great team. Before another character, before Galactic Legend comes and plunders it. Offense, defense, I don't know. You can kill this team with Nest, but if they don't use that counter, I mean, this is good on defense.
It is, yeah. I mean, it forces you. I mean, counters like these, you need to have a specific set of characters or specific teams to take it out. And if you've already used those teams or you don't have them on offense anymore, then these are teams which can get extremely difficult to whittle down. If you've got this in the back zone and people have already used up most of the counters to Padme, like Treya or Vader or Nest, then this is one team which quickly generates courage and can make it very difficult to whittle down because you'll be trying to focus down on Anakin or Padme to get them down first before you can even begin to think about any of the other characters. And yeah, it can get tricky.
It really can, and this is a good team for the front or the back zone because this is a good bait team. If you notice that someone uses a specific counter on your Padme or on other Padme teams, then and you're like, oh, okay, so they could normally they would use, I don't know, let's say troopers. Like they use troopers to take out Padme, and they use troopers to take out Darth Revan. They don't really have a great other Darth Revan counter. Maybe you put Padme up front. She just takes one for the team, and then in the back they don't have troopers anymore and they're sitting
Mm.
ducks. Like they don't have that option. So
Yep, yep,
she's a good bait team,
yep.
honestly.
That is true. That is true.
So yeah, it's still good. She's like the worst legendary character, but you know, I feel like we were talking about that during Gambit Roundtable one night. Okay, so final team, we've got, gosh, so here's the thing, folks. Man, and you and I struggled, man, trying to find another team because if we're showing you 11 teams for offense, 11 teams for defense, but we're not using Galactic Legends, like the,
Yeah.
we don't really like if you're doing 11 teams without Galactic Legends, then you're in Division 1 without a Galactic Legend. Like it's not realistic. But that being said, this team still is decent, I would say.
It is, yeah, especially if you've got a Relic Dooku who's really, really fast, and you can get Droideka and Soldier under stealth. We've got Mission who's going to go under stealth as well, and Zalbar will be out in the open. This team has got tons of counters, tons of debuffs, tons of assists. And with only Zalbar out in the open, the more you attack him, the more defense he generates, and the more the characters around him can get crazy. You've got Geos and Show Soldier over there applying tenacity down, allowing all those debuffs to stick. You've got Droideka sniping over there, and you've got every time that the enemy goes below 100% health, they get healing immunity and daze, which is never a good thing. So it can get annoying if you don't have the right teams against it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Tenacity down.
Dooku, yeah, Dooku just does a lot of dirty things. Mission can provide days on her own. Geo soldiers calling assists. If you make Dooku pretty quick, everyone's going to be in stealth besides Mission and Zalbar. But Mission, if she's if she isn't just like targeted down instantly, or they just hit her once and then Zalbar starts taunting, like she'll go into stealth as well. It's not bad. Like this is one of those teams that you're like, you know what? I'd probably prefer it to be on offense for me, so that I know exactly what I'm going into. But I mean, I wouldn't. You can't use Nest to solo it. You can't. There's like nothing really that can solo this that easily. I don't think.
Yeah, yeah.
Because Dooku's gonna stun them, etc. But that being said, I think this is it, and I'll end of the line. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing viewership today?
No, I think this is good. You've got to when you're thinking about defenses, you've got to think about teams which can't be cheesed. I mean, you want to the B or the A minus teams that your opponent has that they usually like to take against in their comfort against tough teams like Troopers or Mon Mothma. You want to put in teams that is not an easy give for opponent. Zalbar, for example, you can't really use Mon Mothma against that guy because he keeps stacking defense quite a lot. So you need to set down teams which make it a problem for your opponent to take their A minus or B level teams in there. So that's I think the main takeaway.
Yeah, I think so. I think Plus, you can kind of tailor things to if you're scouting your opponent, like placing your defenses, you can kind of tailor your defenses based on what their predispositions are. And so you're like, man, he consistently, I do this all the time with Grievous. I'm like, man, he consistently makes poor decisions against Grievous. Like, he just doesn't have a good Grievous counter. So sometimes he just overkills it. Let's just put it in that front zone, and you know, like he's not able to clear me because he has to use a really good team on Grievous because he has a psychological block. Similarly though, it's like if you're scouting deep enough, you can see sometimes Dooku does way more to someone than you know, to other people. Like his kit can mess people up in a big way if you don't know how to deal with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
That being said, all right, let's call it good, guys. Go watch Endall. Go sub to him on his YouTube channel. Go watch our Galactic Legend video that was released yesterday. Links to everything will be found in the video description. And that being said, guys, thank you all so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Endall and Zareth prevail. Have a good night, everyone. Or day.